More than 600 military officers received new promotions to various ranks as part of the Gambia Armed Forces drive to improve professionalism and reward dedication, loyalty, and commitment. Russia's defense ministry announces the start of its military campaign against ISIS targets in Syria, but Western powers are watching the development with anxiety, amid concern that Moscow's air raids are targeting moderate Syrian rebels opposed to President Assad. And the tiny Himalayan kingdom of Nepal hit by an acute fuel shortage, with authorities there blaming giant neighbors India for the crisis. These and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I am MOMODOU. The President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Ejeje Jammeh Babili Mansa, Thursday afternoon received in audience a special envoy of the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Ahmed Fadel Yaqub said he discussed wide-ranging bilateral issues between Banjul and Cairo, most notably his country's candidature for a non-permanent UN Security Council seat, for which Egypt is seeking the Gambia's support. After his audience with President Jammeh, Special Envoy Yaqub spoke to waiting journalists.
First of all, I just would like to say that it was my honor and my pleasure to meet His Excellency the President this afternoon. It was really, I mean, a very important and fruitful meeting, because as you know, the relations between the two countries are historic. The relations are very good, and we are proud of our relations between the two countries. And we are actually have the intention from the two sides to strengthen more and more these bilateral relations. And we would like also to these relations to include other aspects of cooperation, especially in the area of commerce and economy. Because we have, I mean, in both countries, we have the capabilities and the opportunities to tackle this area. I have conveyed to His Excellency the President the esteemed greetings of our President al-Sisi, and I have also conveyed to His Excellency a written message with regard to the bilateral relations in general, and at the same time we have informed His Excellency with regard to the candidacy of Egypt to be a member of the Security Council, for the non-permanent seat of the Security Council for the term that will start 2016-2017. We are pleased, and I myself am pleased to receive at the same time from His Excellency the President the support and the endorsement of Gambia to the Egyptian candidature to the non-permanent seat of the Security Council. And I was also pleased and honored to receive from His Excellency the same day another message, written message of support and solidarity to His Excellency, the President of Egypt. First of all, I just would like to say that it was my honor and my pleasure to meet
the Director of the President's Alternative Medical Treatment Program, Dr. Tamsir Mbow, hereby informs all patients who have registered for the 12th Infertility Treatment Program to report at the Kanilai Alternative Clinic at 10 a.m. on Thursday, 8 October 2015. His Excellency the President, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jame Babili Mansa, will commence the infertility treatment for a period of 1 week at Kanilai. For further information, please contact Dr. Tamsir Mbow on 991-4535 or 9920329. Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, the Majority Leader and National Assembly Member for Serekunda East, has said that the Ministry of the Interior should make a declaration for Gambians with expired identity cards to be given the opportunity to use the said documents for bank and other transactions until any time the state resumes renewal of expired ID cards. Honorable Jatta made this statement at the National Assembly chambers during Tuesday's adjournment debate. Louis Mendy was listening and he prepares this report.
The National Assembly adjournment debate was a platform for lawmakers to debate their constituency priority areas of development that probably fell outside the national budget and the need to support government development projects and programs. And so was it on Tuesday at the National Assembly chambers as the NAMs took turns to talk about the development concerns of their people. In the provincial Gambia of Sabasanjal constituency, poor road network linking some major settlements was the cry, compounded by the absence of a health post in the area. The same road network was a concern for Upper and Lower Salums, as well as for the people of Bakau, as stated by Honorable Khalifa Jammeh, the NAM for the area. Honorable Jammeh harped on the need to rehabilitate the road leading to the Bakau Crocodile Pool for economic gains as one of the major tourist attraction centers.
Honorable Speaker, the Sabasanjal network, road network, is a very poor one. Since when I came to this National Assembly, and I have been saying it over and over.
Talking about the roads of Banjul, Honorable Alhaji Sila, the NAM for Banjul North, said government needs to design a new road policy that is responsive to the needs of the Banjulians in the long term.
Years ago, there were numerous interventions made in terms of road construction, and we have seen some road development been made along Hagan Street, and a few more that was done with concrete from Clarkson Street, that is from the junction of Clarkson Street, Russell Street, junction of State House to the junction of Independence Drive at the roundabout where the former National Lottery was. But, Honorable Speaker, it is very, very serious, the conditions of our roads in Banjul. Certain roads are unmotorable.
The absence of pipe-borne water in Upper and Lower Salum and sustainable electricity supply was also raised by the NAM for the area.
Once again, I am appealing to the Minister of Water Resources to come to the aid of my people. We still have villages that do go to other villages to acquire clean drinking water.
On the need to support government development projects and programs, Mam Cherno Jallo, the NAM for Upper Nyomi, called on the House to endeavor to make sure it's a reality, a view shared with the NAM for Fonyi Kansala and many others.
Today, as parliamentarians, we should endeavor to see that it becomes a reality, because it is a reality, it should be. What are we going to do as of now? It is high time that we summon experts and the technocrats. Let them come and tell us the assessment that they have made and where are we as far as Vision 2016 is concerned.
On the projects designed by government to raise the socio-economic status of Gambians, particularly the rural poor, Amadou Ndiaye, the NAM for Upper Fuladu West, praised the SLEEP project for establishing development projects across the country worth millions of dollars. Expired ID cards was another issue that triggered debate at the National Assembly on Tuesday. And as the majority leader puts it, the Ministry of the Interior should make a declaration for holders of expired ID cards to be able to use them for bank transactions until any time the state resumes the renewal of the national document. The argument was that the ID card is only for identity purpose and the expiry date matters only a little. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
618 soldiers of various military ranks ranging from private to warrant officer class 1 have been promoted to new ranks by the Defense Command of the Gambia Armed Forces at a colorful ceremony graced by the Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Yankuba Drame, on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Usman Baji. 97 officers were promoted to ranks of command ranging from Staff Sergeant to warrant officers class 1, whilst 512 officers are promoted to ranks of sergeant. The promotions, as approved by the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Ejj Jammeh Babeli Mansa, is meant to motivate deserving men and women of the Gambia Armed Forces that have served the country with dedication, loyalty, and commitment.
We are greatly honored and privileged to have you in our midst, witnessing the decoration of promoted soldiers for the year 2015, despite your very busy schedules you left behind. This is an important event in the annals of the Gambia Armed Forces. The event was possible with the recommendation of a promotion board convened by a competent authority, with the approval of the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, retired Colonel Chief Professor Alhaj Dr. Yahya Ejj Jammeh Babeli Mansa,
from 1 Infantry Battalion and Defense Headquarters Camp, who are promoted to various ranks from Lance Corporal to Warrant Officer Class 1 for the year 2015. Promotion decoration ceremony is a cherished and rich military tradition performed to decorate a newly promoted officer or soldier with his or her new rank. This is to recognize hard work, honor the recipient, and encourage others. Perhaps it may interest you to know that a total number of 618 soldiers from 1 Infantry Battalion have benefited from this promotion. Out of this figure, 11 soldiers are promoted to Warrant Officer Class 1, 16 to Warrant Officer Class 2, 32 to Staff Sergeant, 38 to Sergeant, 146 to Corporal, and 375 to Lance Corporal.
My statement this morning will center on 4 cardinal issues that are relevant to our professional commitments as a vibrant and credible defense instrument, charged with the responsibility to safeguard the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence of our beloved country, the Gambia. The issues to be discussed, I will start with promotion, look at promotion generally. Then, I will then examine security from a wider context, and to be more precise, to the Gambia Armed Forces, whose responsibility it is to preserve and promote peace within our beloved country. Thereafter, I would assess the aspect of discipline in relation to the armed forces, what it plays to us. And finally, I will look into the issue of loyalty and selfless services, which I believe is an integral part of a noble profession. And of course, I will finally conclude.
Today, we are greatly honored and privileged to have you in our midst, witnessing the decoration of promotion.
Meanwhile, the Gambia Armed Forces hereby informs the general public that it would conduct a live firing exercise from Friday 2nd to Sunday 4th October 2015 at the Lance Corporal Bojang's range in Brikama. A media release from the Gambia Armed Forces headquarters urged the general public, especially residents living around the range in Brikama, Kasakunda, Jalambang and other satellite villages not to panic but caution to avoid this designated area on the above-mentioned dates. The release ends. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has embarked on a series of activities on its farms at Chairman Seed Multiplication Center in the North Bank region. As Buba SMCC reports, the activities include harvesting and transplanting of new varieties of crops by young graduates from Songhai Regional Center together with 40 new intakes supervised by experts.
The government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports in partnership with the UNDP Country Office, has created a program called Gambia Songhai Initiative that aims at integrating farming system to transform the modernized form of farming for the improvement of livelihoods. Chairman Seed Multiplication Center is now referred to as Gambia Songhai Initiative. The idea is to establish a green rural city.
Our main point here is to create an enabling environment for the populace here, and also to establish a green rural city, and that is what Songhai is all about. We are here in the Gambia, we are working hard to make sure that we change the mindset of the people in terms of agriculture. The youth today, they run away from agriculture, but we are trying to reorientate them. We are trying to change their mindset and bring them back to what we call natural way of cultivation.
The recent graduates from Songhai Regional Center are ready to give back to their country, expressing gratitude to the government and its partners like FAO and UNDP for their support.
We first of all give thanks to the UNDP and Ministry of Youth and Sport, giving the Gambian youth the package to go and study in Songhai Republic for 6-month training, which was very intensive with us, but at the end of the day, be able to learn something which we can replicate the same, even more than what we see in Songhai.
It inspired me a lot because there and here is somehow different, because the poultry they have there and then maybe the breeds are different, and then you learn you practically too. All their work is practical, you do it practically. Maybe here at college you do theory, but when you go to Benin, it's all practical.
Anything here, there is no chemical in these crops. They are all organic.
They are the face of the country's new Green Rural City initiative. And for the team, it is important for them and the country as a whole.
This is the cowpea. The cowpea alone is 10 hectares. Millet is 6.5 hectares. Okay. Groundnut is 6.5 hectares. Maize, we have 30 hectares of maize. Moringa, we have almost 1,500 plants. Acacia, we have popo, we have 200 plants. Acacia, we have 5,000 plants. Orchard, we have 5 hectares. Okay, the beauty about this center is not only training, but seed multiplication. A seed is a biological embodiment without which there would be no food, feed, or shelter. When you have small, that small one can be multiplied. In time to come, it will have a large quantity.
As government and as responsible government, if you want to create employment for your people, you need to be a bit innovative, and that's what we are doing here. The young people, yes, are under us as the ministry responsible for youth, but they exist and they are everywhere. They will be, you'll find them in agriculture, in the Ministry of Health, in those sectors, in the sectors dealing with trade, for instance, in the education sector as well. So what we do as ministry is to work with all these relevant sectors and see how our young people are placed in their respective sectors. In here, that's what we are doing with the Ministry of Agriculture to complement their efforts.
The underlying principle behind Gambia Songhai Initiative is to replicate the success of Songhai Regional Center in the Republic of Benin here in the Gambia. Buba SMCC, GRTS.
The National Environment Agency, NEA, hereby informs the general public that the next operation, Clean the Nation, is scheduled for this Saturday, 3rd October 2015. In this regard, all National Assembly members, governors, CFOs, alcalos, ward councillors, youth groups, women organizations and government institutions are being reminded that a presidential directive have been issued, requiring all of them to organize and participate in the national cleanup exercise within their respective areas of jurisdiction. Consequently, there will be mass inspection of premises, markets, areas of business, etc. by inspectors from the National Environment Agency, the Gambia Police Force and other stakeholders immediately after the exercise, and those found wanting would be prosecuted accordingly. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Russian Defense Ministry said it has carried out a series of new airstrikes in Syria, hitting ISIS targets. Moscow insists the campaign helped Syria's military fight against ISIS and other terror groups. But critics say Russia has targeted Syrian opposition fighters, including some backed by the United States of America. And now the Russian Defense Ministry said it has hit ISIS facilities. The US-led coalition also flies missions over Syria, and coordination of ISIS key US and Russian military officials could meet as soon as Thursday to discuss that. We have details in this news report.
Well, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and they've released a video of these strikes taking place, there were 4 facilities struck overnight by Russian warplanes in Syria. They're described by the Russian Defense Ministry as ISIS facilities, specifically is written in this statement I've got in front of me here, specifically areas, an ammunition dump near Idlib, the headquarters of ISIS, or a headquarters of ISIS in Hama province, and various other facilities as well that have been hit in these latest series of airstrikes, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Now, as you mentioned, there is some confusion over whether it is just ISIS that is being targeted by the Russian military on this day 2 of their air campaign in the skies over Syria. A number of other rebel groups may also have been targeted, opponents of the Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad. It's interesting because the Defense Ministry is sticking to this idea, or this line, that it's Islamic State they're focusing on, but other aspects of the Russian establishment are sort of being more nuanced about it. The Russian foreign minister, for instance, basically saying that the Syrian government have requested Russian assistance in targeting not just ISIS, but other groups as well. Take a listen to what Sergei Lavrov had to say.
Our answer is honest and frank. President Putin and our other official representatives have said repeatedly that at the request of the Syrian government, we're helping them to fight ISIS and other terrorist groups.
That's the sort of concern, the matter of concern for many Western countries, the fact that these other terrorist groups are also being targeted, not just Islamic State. Separately, there's going to be some coordination very shortly, we're hearing, between US and Russian militaries to make sure they don't come into any unwanted contact with each other in the skies over Syria. But again, you know, which is something that the United States is not going to like. The Kremlin releasing a statement to reporters earlier today saying that we already are coordinating in Syria. We're coordinating our targets with the Syrian army. And so this is what the Russians are clearly doing, backing up the Syrian army as much as possible, not just against ISIS, but by other opponents of the regime as well.
Nepal faces a severe fuel crisis that is worsened by the day, and the nation says it's India's fault. It all started with a political change. We have more in this news report.
It all began with this: a new constitution for Nepal, celebrations in parliament, and of course, on the streets. For many Nepalis, they were finally a sovereign nation in the true sense of the word. But all was not well. Some of Nepal's ethnic minorities said the constitution wasn't inclusive enough. They protested. Most of those minorities seen as being culturally close to India. And then this: Hundreds of fuel tankers and goods trucks not crossing into Nepal from India. Kathmandu calls it a trade blockade, vengeance of sorts from New Delhi. Nepalis are angry. Whatever the diplomatic wrangling, they are suffering. Transport has been hit. The state won't sell fuel for private vehicles. Even airlines being told to carry enough fuel for a trip back across the border. Nepal says it could run out of fuel in less than a fortnight. It's a landlocked country sandwiched between India and China, and it gets 100% of its fuel from India. No fuel is bad, even in a good time. But for a country rebuilding after 2 devastating earthquakes this year, the timing couldn't be worse. India says the problem lies with Nepal, pointing to obstructions on the border and weeks of internal protests that have New Delhi worried about the safety of its truckers. Either way, Nepal's worst year in living memory has just gotten worse. Ravi Agrawal, CNN, New Delhi.
We take our second break now. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and now to sports. The coach of the Scorpions, Raul Savoy, is set to name his squad ahead of the doubleheader against Southern African side Namibia in the preliminary rounds of the World Cup qualifiers. And ahead of that crucial encounter, the Gambia Football Federation is on an aggressive campaign to mobilize fans to the game. And as part of our build-up to the game, our MS Jallo spoke to the GFF's media and marketing officer, Bakari B. Balde, about the upcoming game. Here is an excerpt.
How are the preparations going ahead of this very important crunch encounter against the Namibians?
Well, for now, preparations, like I always like seeing, is ongoing thing for the Gambia Football Federation, especially when you have a qualifier of this sort against Namibia in the World Cup preliminaries. As we speak for now, we have announced ticket prices for the match, and the selling points of the tickets are also been announced. They would be available at all GNPC petrol stations. For example, beginning from Brikama, coming down to the Greater Banjul area, Abuko, Banjul, Bundung, and the GNPC head office along the Batil Hardin Highway, not very far from the Independence Stadium. Because we have long been announcing that tickets would not be sold at the stadium gates on the match day, hence a regulation from FIFA. And ticket prices been considered considering the purchasing power of the average Gambian. We are charging $1,000 for VIPs, $200 for covered pavilions, $150 for uncovered pavilions, the one directly opposite the covered, $100 for scoreboard area and its opposite, that's the Newtown area and the Carnifing end. As far as ticketing is concerned, that is what is happening for now. We will come back to your medium again to announce that tickets would be out on a particular day, so that people can go to these different outlets and get their tickets on time. Again, we are continuing with the wristband instead of the paper-made tickets.
Let's now talk about the game. How significant is the next encounter against Namibia?
For us, it is very significant. In fact, for me personally, it's the most significant match as far as our qualifier is concerned, because this one is a preliminary qualifier. You know, the Gambia has never taken part in a World Cup finals. We have as well never taken part in an African Cup of Nations final. And because of our ranking as well, we are classified as that low-ranking countries, and therefore those low-ranking countries will have to go into a preliminary qualifier to look for a place in the other round of the preliminary phase before they set themselves for a group stage proper. And that is why our game against Namibia is very, very important, and that is why we call on every stakeholder, every partner to come on board.
From sports, we now join the Weather Center for the day's weather outlook.
Everything as you know it starts here. that simple promise of a harvest after planting is nature's service to the community that you and I are a part of. We carry on bonding and sharing because the feeling to serve is mutual. But that promise between us, the sun and the land, is what gives us the hope to carry on. And as it was in the beginning, we started with a belief to serve. Elton, a new vision of service.
Hello there, wonderful viewers. Welcome to the weather segment. I am Hadijatu Abdul Hakim. We experienced a humid and variably cloudy atmosphere with rain and thunderstorm over some parts of the country. Karawan recorded the highest read 49.9 millimeters, Sapo 37 millimeters, Futoto recorded 24.6 millimeters, Janjamburi 15.5, Kawu recorded 12.3 millimeters, Basse 10.4, and Junum recorded the least with 0.6 millimeters. The satellite picture indicates rain-bearing clouds over the central, east and southern parts of Africa. Tonight will be variably cloudy and humid with scattered thunderstorm and rain showers. Tomorrow morning, we're expecting a variably cloudy atmosphere with thunder activities to prevail, particularly over the western sector, whilst in the rest of the day, it will be warm and partly cloudy. Surface winds will be southeasterlies over the coastal areas and southwesterlies over the inland areas. The speed will vary between 5 and 10 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures will be either 23 or 24 degrees Celsius across the country, whilst maximum temperatures, it will be 32 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul, West Coast and Lower River region, whilst North Bank and the rest of the country will record 34 degrees Celsius. Low tides will be 0.2 meters at 6 a.m. and also at 6 p.m. High tides will be 1.8 meters at 12 a.m. and 1.7 meters at 12 p.m. The sun will rise at 7 minutes to 7, at 7 minutes to 7, at 7 minutes to 7, at 7 minutes.
That was the weather report courtesy of the Central Forecast Office. And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh has held talks with Ahmed Fadel Yaqub, Special Envoy of Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. More than 600 military officers have received new promotions to various ranks as part of the Gambia Armed Forces drive to improve professionalism and reward dedication, loyalty, and commitment. Russia's defense ministry has announced the start of its military campaign against ISIS targets in Syria, but Western powers are watching the development with anxiety amid concern that Moscow's air raids are targeting moderate Syrian rebels opposed to President Bashar al-Assad. And the tiny Himalayan kingdom of Nepal has been hit by an acute fuel shortage, with authorities there blaming giant neighbors India for the crisis. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with GRTS and enjoy the rest of our interesting programs.